disclaimer from English. There are so many English phrasal verbs, right? Hundreds and hundreds. Today, I'm going to take you through the 50 most common phrasal verbs so that you can make sure you recognize them, you understand them, and you can use them confidently in English conversations. We're going to take the very best of all of my phrasal verb lessons and bring them together right here in this one lesson for you. There's a fair bit to cover, so to help you, I've made you a free workbook that you can use to practice and to remember what you learned during this lesson. Head down to the description, follow the link and the instructions to get the download, and let's get into the lesson. Bring up. Now we use this phrasal verb in multiple ways, but when we want to start discussing something, we use it. There's something I want to bring up. So it's a really great way to introduce a new topic, and it's usually about something that's serious or important. It's usually used when you're in a professional context or you want to talk about something seriously. Let's bring this up at our next team meeting. To get across. Now, this phrasal verb is often used with the verb try to show that you're attempting to communicate a message, when you want someone to understand something. Here's a cool tip. There are several nouns that are often used with get across. And so learning them together is going to help you to sound more natural and more accurate as you use this phrasal verb. So we use get across with facts, feelings, ideas, a message, meaning, a point, or a point of view. All of these things are used with get across. Am I getting the message across clearly? I'm trying to get my point across, but Paul keeps butting in. I'm going to get to that phrasal verb soon. Have you ever jumped in on a conversation? This is a great phrasal verb for interrupting. It's very informal. Do you mind if I jump in here? I've got something to share. I want to say it. We don't literally mean jump in. Jump in is just an informal synonym of interrupt. Do you mind if I interrupt? Do you mind if I jump in? They're the same thing. The phrasal verb is just more casual, more informal. Now, butt in is also used for interrupting, but very informal and perhaps a little rude when you're using that to describe what someone else did. It suggests that that person who's doing the action, they didn't really care about the other people in the conversation or what they've been talking about. They just interrupted and it was quite rude. They butted in. And it's often used...
Hey, did you do the thing I told you to do the other day? Because I need you to do it.
Anyway, to butt in means to join a conversation or an activity without being asked to or invited to. I was speaking with Sue after she lost her job, and then Jim butts in and starts talking about his new promotion. So it's quite a selfish action, right? Butt in. To blurt out. This is quite a fun one. To blurt something out. Blurt. To blurt out something means to say something without thinking about the effect it will have, and it's usually because you're nervous or you're excited. Imagine that a friend told you that she was pregnant, but she specifically said, "Don't mention it to anyone yet because I haven't told anyone else." But then later in the day you saw another friend, someone you hadn't seen in quite a while, and you were giving them all the updates about life and work, and then you say, "Oh, guess what? Melanie's pregnant." Oh. It just slipped out of your mouth before you even thought about it. That is blurting it out. Then you'd have to call her up and you'd have to say, I'm so sorry, I just blurted it out, I didn't think." So this phrasal verb can be used in multiple ways. It's sometimes used when you're trying to call someone and they don't answer. I'm trying to get through, but there's no answer. But it's also used when you're trying to make someone understand what you're trying to say. It's difficult to get the message through to my team because we all work remotely. I'm trying to get the message through to Paul, but he's not listening. To talk over. This phrasal verb is used to discuss a problem or a plan. And usually it's when you're trying to find a solution or resolve it in some way. It's when you're a little stuck. You've got to talk about it some more so that you can come to a resolution or to make it clear. And when you use it, you'll always need to use an object as well, all right? You'll need to talk over an issue, a plan, something, it or this, whatever, okay? It's something that has to be talked over. I know you're upset. Let's talk it over tonight when you get home. Sometimes you might even hear people using talk over in the context of speaking over the top of someone else, usually as a way to interrupt. They might say, I don't mean to talk over you, but we've already decided what to do. So in this context, it's always followed by a person, followed by the person who's being interrupted. To talk around. So when you want to talk someone around, you want to convince them or you want to persuade them to agree with you, right? So it kind of suggests that the person didn't agree with you to start with, and you're trying to convince them that your idea is the right one, is the best one. I didn't want to go, but he succeeded in talking me round. To shut down. You might know this phrasal verb already because it has a common meaning to close something, usually permanently, like it might be a restaurant that gets shut down. But it is also informally used during conversations when you get rejected, especially if your hopes are up. It was kind of awkward. She just shut him down mid-sentence. So she just stopped him in the middle of his sentence and told him that his idea was no good or that he's wrong. She interrupted in a rude way and shut his idea down. So it's definitely a negative thing to do or to experience yourself, right? My boss didn't like the suggestion. He shut me down straight away. Now, it would be much better if your boss backed you up, right? Which means to give support by telling other people that they agree with something that you said or something that you did. Thanks for backing me up during the meeting. When we think about or we talk about the past, then we can use look back on something, an event or a time or an experience in the past. I try to look back on the mistakes I made in the past and learn from them. We look after people. We take care of them. I offered to look after my sister's kids on Thursday night. Who's going to look after your dog while you're away? To look down on someone is to have a low opinion of them or to think that you're better than them in some way. It's really common for people who value university education to look down on those who don't have a degree. Can you think of other times in your life or around you in your community where people look down on each other? See if you can write a sentence about that down below. We look for things, right? When we lose something and we're trying to find it. Now, of course, we always need to use a noun that follows this phrasal verb, right? To explain what it is we're looking for. I'm looking for my keys. I can't find them anywhere. Of course, we look forward to something happening, right? We are waiting for something to happen and feeling really excited or really pleased about it. Lots of you know that I love the warm weather, and I usually complain about our relatively mild winter here in Australia. But as you can imagine, we are just coming out of winter and heading into summer now, and I am very excited about it. I'm looking forward to summer. We look around or we look round, and that's when we visit a place and see what's there. Before I book the venue, I'd like to come and look around if that's okay, just to make sure that it's suitable. Look out. To look out. We use it as an exclamation to tell someone to be careful. That's a really common use. We say, look out. You're about to knock the glass off the bench. Look out. Look out. We look out for people. Can you hear that? Look out. Look out. Look out for someone, it means to take care of them and make sure that they're okay. My nephews are always looking out for each other at school. It is so sweet. You might already know the phrasal verb look up. Are you already thinking of a few different phrasal verbs that use look up? When we look something up, usually we're trying to find out some information, right? Or we use a dictionary or Google or YouTube to find the right answer or the truth, right? If you don't know a word, you look it up in the dictionary. Now, look up is a separable phrasal verb, and that means that we can insert the object into the phrasal verb, or we can have it follow. So we can say, look up the word, or look the word up. Both of them are okay. It's possible. Now, if we keep thinking about look up, then I can say that I look up to someone, right? I respect them. I want to be like them. I really look up to my boss. I guess you could say that she's my mentor. Now, this phrasal verb is also inseparable. The object always follows the phrasal verb. Who do you look up to? Is there someone in your life that you respect and you admire? Write about it in the comments below. To look into something is to investigate it. And this phrasal verb is quite useful to use in a professional context. If a colleague says, "We sent out the invitations last week, but no one's responded. Do you think there's a problem with the website?" That's odd. Maybe. I'll look into it and report back after lunch. Another great phrasal verb to use in a work context is to look over something. And this means to examine it, but usually quickly, probably not going into a whole heap of detail. I'll look over the report tonight and let you know if I want to add anything. We can look through something. Now, of course, we have the more literal meaning of look through. But like look over, it's also used when we examine something, especially to find the information that you need. I can spend hours looking through recipes, getting inspiration for dinner each night. Come down with. So when you come down with something, you are starting to show the signs of an illness. They both came down with a terrible cold. So it's the same as saying catch. We say to catch a cold or catch an illness. It has the same meaning. They came down with a cold, they caught a cold, same thing. Now, usually come down with is used with non-serious illnesses like a cold or the flu, a stomach bug, or even just something when we're a little unsure. We might say, I feel like I'm coming down with something. Now, notice that come down with is transitive and inseparable. So that means that we always need an object to complete that thought or that action, right? We need that object. But it's also inseparable, which means that the object needs to go after the phrasal verb and not in between it. You can also fight off a cold, can't you? When you free yourself of that illness and your body overcomes that illness by fighting against it. She came down with a cold, but luckily she was able to fight it off quickly. She overcame the cold quickly. So the fighting here in this phrasal verb is figurative, not literally fighting a cold or punching that virus in the face. No. It's inside her body. Her immune system is working hard to fight off that virus, until she's feeling well again. So this phrasal verb is transitive. We need an object, but this time it is separable. So that means that our object can either go between the verb and the particle, or it can go after the phrasal verb. She fought off the cold. She fought the cold off. She fought it off. Oh, there is one little tip here that I want to share about